Hey, I'm here. I write stories that take you to magical places and introduce you to extraordinary people. Join me today for a new adventure. In the heart of a bustling city, there lived a young man named Liam. He was an average guy, or so he thought. His days revolved around school, work, and hanging out with friends. Together, they searched for the door. They found it just as Liam had left it. Intrigued, Maya set up her tripod and snapped several pictures. When they checked the photos later, however, the door wasn't in any of them. Weird, she whispered. Day after day, the door continued to stand in the clearing. In the distance, nestled amidst the luminous trees, stood a grand Victorian house. Its windows twinkled like stars, invitingly illuminating the path ahead. Emerging from the trees, Liam stood before the house, awestruck. It was as if the very essence of the forest had coalesced into this structure, blending seamlessly with its surroundings. Intricate carvings adorned the facade, and the front door, painted a vibrant crimson, seemed to pulse with a warm light. A feeling of profound familiarity washed over him, as though he had always known this place existed. Outside, the storm raged, lightning illuminating the worried faces of his parents searching frantically in the distance. This world might be strange, but he had a role to play here. And with the enigmatic girl by his side, he knew his journey was just beginning. Steeling himself, Liam turned to the girl, ready to listen, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. He might not understand everything, but he knew he wasn't alone. Turning back to Liam, the girl squeezed his hand gently. "This is your world," she said softly, "but it's also ours. And if you've enjoyed this story, don't forget to show your support. Until next time, keep believing in the magic within you. For a moment, our worlds are intertwined. You're no longer just Liam." Her gaze was intense, her words carrying a weight he couldn't quite comprehend. "You're also a keeper, and we need your help." Drawn by an invisible force, Liam started walking toward the house. A moment stretched into eternity before the door swung open, revealing a sight that stole his breath away. Inside, bathed in golden light, was a girl seated at a table. She turned upon hearing the door open, and their eyes met. Time seemed to freeze in that instant. She was his age, with flowing silver hair and eyes that shone like distant stars. Her lips curved into a gentle smile, and Liam found himself drawn to her as if by an invisible thread. Each time Liam visited, something changed: the carvings, the symbols, the humming. Once he even saw a faint outline of a handprint on the door, as though someone had pressed their palm against it just before vanishing. The sky darkened, wind whipped through the trees, and thunder rumbled in the distance. Looking back at the door, he saw it vanish, leaving him in a world he had never known existed. Fear clutched at him. How could he have entered so easily, and now the door was gone? Panic threatened to consume him, but the girl's calm presence steadied him. The door became an obsession. Liam couldn't understand it, but he knew he had to do something about it. "We've been waiting," she said, her voice like the chime of silver bells. "You can open what others can't. You're a keeper now." Her words echoed in Liam's mind, leaving him more confused than ever. He wanted to ask questions, but no words came out. Life was pretty chill. Nothing out of the ordinary, or so he believed. Suddenly, the air around him changed. The temperature dropped slightly. The wind rustled the leaves, and a gentle breeze brushed against him. The light enveloped him, and the world, as he knew it, dissolved around him. When the light faded, Liam found himself in a realm that seemed both familiar and alien. Towering trees, adorned with sparkling lights, formed a canopy overhead, filtering the sunlight into dancing beams on the forest floor. Strange, beautiful flowers in hues he had never seen before dotted the landscape, and the air buzzed with a melody of unseen creatures. The forest hummed with an otherworldly energy, a symphony of sights and sounds that stirred something deep within Liam. As if guided by an unseen force, Liam stood up and walked towards the door. His heart pounded in his chest, and his hands trembled slightly. As he reached out to touch the door, his fingers met something soft, yielding. Startled, he pulled his hand back and noticed a tiny opening in the wood. It was barely noticeable, but it was enough. One day, after work, while taking his usual route home, Liam decided to cut through the nearby woods. Hesitantly, Liam began to climb. The steps were cold and creaky, each step echoing in the confined space. As he ascended, the air grew colder, sending shivers down his spine. When he reached the top, the door was gone, vanished as if it had never been there. In its place was a circular opening, a portal of sorts, swirling with an ethereal light. Before him lay a path, not of stone or concrete, but of shimmering light. It beckoned to him, promising mysteries yet to be unveiled. He loved this shortcut, not because it saved time or distance, but because it led him to a secret clearing where a small lake sparkled amidst the trees. This place was his sanctuary, his escape from the noise and rush of the city. But today, something was different. As he reached the lake, he noticed a tall wooden door standing right in the middle of the woods. It wasn't leaning against a tree or propped up on something. It was just there, firmly planted in the ground, as if someone had placed it there on purpose. The door seemed ancient, its wood worn smooth by countless years of wind and rain. Strange markings covered its surface, and the more Liam stared, the more he felt a strange pull, an urge to walk right through it. But there was one detail that made the most sense, or rather, the lack of one. The door had no handle. How could anyone open such a door? Confused and intrigued, Liam circled the door, touching it, trying to find a way to open it. He knocked once, twice, but it didn't budge. It was solid, unwavering. Frustrated, he walked away, intending to return another day. But as he did, he noticed something peculiar. The spot where the door had been planted was now filled with small pebbles. They weren't there before. Liam stopped. He had paid attention while walking. No pebbles had been there. Now they were. What was happening? Was he losing his mind? Or was the door somehow influencing him? He shook his head, dismissing the thought. But the next day, unable to resist his curiosity, Liam returned. To his surprise, the door was still there, and so were the pebbles. But now, the scene around the door was different. There were footprints imprinted in the soft earth leading up to it. Bare feet, small. Whoever had left them had done so recently. Liam followed the tracks, which ended abruptly at the edge of the woods. He looked around. There were no houses or roads nearby, only more trees. Disappointed, he returned home. The next day, armed with his phone camera, Liam returned with his friend, Maya, who listened patiently to his story. One evening, after days of pondering, Liam sat on a nearby log, frustration evident on his face. Inside the door, a spiral staircase made of the same aged wood spiraled upwards, disappearing into darkness. Taking a deep breath, Liam stepped onto the path. As he ventured deeper into this enchanted wood, the trees seemed to part on their own, revealing a magnificent sight before him. As he drew closer, the melody of the forest grew louder, becoming a harmonious chorus. With tentative steps, Liam walked up to the door and knocked. Before he could speak, the girl rose, her movements fluid and graceful. Suddenly, the air outside shifted, mirroring the turmoil in Liam's heart. Taking his hand, she led him to the window. Liam felt a surge of determination mixed with apprehension. Though fear still lingered, a stronger emotion was rising within him, a sense of purpose. As the storm continued to rage outside, Liam found himself stepping into a destiny he never imagined, bound to a world that was both fantastical and in peril. Now, dear listener, I want to hear from you. What do you think will happen next? Share your thoughts below.